Initialize sequence.
Yo, what up? This is Prozac. This is Shags 2 Dope from Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, this is Brief.
Yo, this be the one them called Tech 9.
What's up? This is Mad Child.
This is your boy Spider-Man, a.k.a. Brother Lynch.
Jared from Head PE.
Yo, what up? This is Coffin.
My name is Recognize.
This is Boondock.
Yo, this Blaze You Down, homie.
Welcome to The Underground, Australia's home of underground music.
Jumping into episode 12 of The Underground, amped it is Ned, joined by John Fitzgerald, Jason Lee, Brad Pitt Herbert, and Amina Zor. Boys, we are back for another week. How are we all?
Pretty good, thank you, Nettie. Pretty good. Tell you what, man, very, very fired up as per usual, because every time I think we've got a great run of form and someone is smiling down on us from above, because our boy, the real JSL Herbert, after a fortnight ago, he went and lost his mind, almost killed everyone in the room. He has been in the best of moods.
We're about to test that out.
We are going to test that out. But Jay, how are you feeling this morning? Another week down, your face is looking a lot more healed up once again. For those not listening, you need to check back some of our old podcasts. Herbs did headbutt a beehive and his face looked like it blew up the size of 3 basketballs, and it was, well, quite nasty to say the least to look at. But now your handsome-like looks are coming back.
Yeah, here he is.
Yeah, it's good. Feeling absolutely awesome, very at peace, very zen.
Who's the new guy?
Unless, of course, you're going to be on the footy park, then watch out.
Speaking of the footy park, Jay, you did get dropped by the Taylor's Lake Lakers, didn't you? Like,
the reserves.
I am ready to throw in my membership, damn it. Why did they drop you? Was it because of the headbutting of the beehive?
Yeah, it's probably because, like, you know, they sort of want to give you at least a few weeks after you get concussed before you actually play again. It's the same with the AFL and all that too. They like
it's hard to tell the difference between AFL and the horticultural
Yeah, I've
football.
seen both and they're hard. Yeah,
I'm going medical wise here, because as Nims has pointed out previously in the past, we have got an A-grade crack team of medical staff out there, and they just want everyone at their pristine, ready to go.
What do you say? They're on crack?
No, the elite.
They're
you said an A-grade crack team.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Okay, let's rewind that. Yep.
He is happy.
A-grade elite medical team.
Okay.
I tell you what, man, I thought that Jay's head started spinning and he's about to start vomiting on everyone there.
Yeah, me too, man. That concussion, wow. Talking about his team being on crack.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you're back out there next week at least, Herbs. Otherwise, you know, we're going to tear up our number 1 and 2 ticket holder tokens there.
We can't have that, please. No. Do not let these guys tear their tickets up.
Yeah, so there you go. We need Herbert back on the field. Remember how you were going to make that banner, Nem?
Yeah, man. Well, it's such a shame that because we will point out too, like the last time I did see Jay in action, like I was that pumped. I drove 5 hours from Melbourne to get to Dock Lake Oval to see the big man do what he does best, and seeing that Jay got a bit of leather poisoning and then a shot to the head, and unfortunately that was a very premature end to a promising game.
It was, man, and we were talking, that was the comeback game or the second one in, and I know that you came up with a great little pun line there for it, something about welcome back Herbie, but maybe this week it could be JJ, look at your head. JJ, we thought you were dead. JJ, let's put the other team to bed. Or something like that, man, because he's back again.
Yeah! Oh, he's pumped up, man.
He's so excited.
Had 2 coffees this morning, have you?
We forget
3.
sometimes too that, like, you know, Nettie, Johnny, like, because we're not part of the footy world now, like, you know, we dabble here and there as a spectator, but we're not part of the inner sanctum that is elite AFL footballers. So Jay kind of is in that wheelhouse just a little bit. He'll be there singing the song, which I assume is Master of Puppets after. Come on, guys, gather around for this.
Get in close, boys.
One more time.
But look, Jay, it will be good to see you back on the field, man, especially since, you know, because the past couple of weeks we have been very, very basketball heavy, and we know that Jay, while he is a fan of hoops, his real true love is, of course, the footy field, and it would be great to sort of see him back on the park.
Yeah, it definitely will be, and he's extra excited today because we do have Housey from Coffin Carousel on the show as well. So we're going to jump down the sort of droogy side of things once again. We aren't talking metal or horror or punk. This is Australia's sort of version of Wednesday 13, I guess, Herbs, and a big time here for you heavy metal heads.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to hearing this one, man.
Oh, hell yeah. So Did we talk to you about the Wednesday 13 gig? I don't think we did because
Don't think so, no.
Mims had a hell of a time. You had a really bad time.
Yeah, I had a really bad time headbanging, singing along, and yeah, looking like an absolute sourpuss.
Yeah, that's what we thought was really, really strange, because you did look like an absolute sourpuss. You know, like, I can't believe I have to hang out with these idiots.
Well, we did ruin his night, man, and he was visibly upset about the death of all those people in that Marvel movie, The Avengers, I guess.
Yeah, I think I was still a little bit. It's like, but awesome gig as always. As I said, Wednesday is one hell of an entertainer. Actually, you know what? I think we did kind of brush up on this a little bit 2 episodes ago, especially like when I think it was Nettie brought up about that guy who was standing there filming it on his camera or phone or whatever and just gets a great big mop of hair the whole time. Don't be that dude, all right? Don't be the douchebag filming. But you're missing out on the experience.
I remember Nettie, like, Herb's really got into a huge rant about that.
Yeah, that's right.
Unlike our Jay.
It really is unlike our Jay, but here the joke was really on the dude filming that show because Herbs hasn't washed his hair. Period. So who knows what is now infecting that phone?
So what we didn't actually tell you is when we got to the room where Nettie and Jay were actually staying, they saw Herbs and assumed that, very funnily too, that Herbs and Nettie were in fact a gay couple.
Herbs is going to love these.
This is completely true.
This is a true story.
And this is the thing too, like, because Nettie was all like, oh, that's pretty good for a laugh, but Herbs almost lost his mind. He just like wanted to choke the poor dude behind the
No,
desk.
they're not.
He really did. Herbs is very homophobic, but
I am not.
I said, would you want to bunk up with this man? I would think I would have a better taste in dudes if I did swing that way.
Oh, thanks very much.
So how did that go down? They just sort of assumed that you wanted a double bed or something.
Yeah,
did they?
he's like, so you want a double bed? I'm like, hell no, I don't want a double bed with this guy.
I'm just trying not to laugh.
Oh, trying to kill someone.
The dude in the head, but it was actually pretty funny because when we did get up to the room, we did the usual thing of like, all right, everyone pop the bags down. Jay went into the bathroom and wondered what that big white thing with a shower head was. What is this?
Jeez, the way you guys do that, anyone think they're trying to force out a dump or what? It was like,
Oh my goodness, Nim.
We're losing you.
are-
I think there's a thing
I
here
think
that
you've
Herbs
lost
wanted
me.
to talk about you growing up. Nettie,
Yeah,
might be a
let's
great
not.
time to
This is a great
bring it
way to
up.
segue into it, Jay.
moving on.
We are in our mid-30s, and John, well, he's nowhere near it, but that's a whole other story.
We're old men.
And Jay, last week when you flipped out in front of my children yet again, you pointed out that it's time for me to grow up. So what do you mean by this? You think it's time to, put on the crocodile shirts and the weird shoes and just...
I'm not quite so sure about all that sort of stuff, but you're not 16 anymore, man.
Ooh. Mature JLH.
You got to explain a bit further, Herbs. Like,
Come on, Jay. Throw it out there.
You're not 16, man. Time to stop acting like it.
Oh, look at this, man.
There you go.
I'm a little bit taken aback here. I forget that sometimes that Jay is so mature and really looks down upon us kids, Nettie.
Yeah, it is a little upsetting that you would go as far to say that, Jay. So do you want me to start listening to Creedence Clearwater Revival and like, how do you want me to grow up?
You don't have to do any of that. Just like,
None of this, Ned. Look,
none of that. I'm not. Don't.
What we got to start
just-
doing is, maybe I got to start throwing away all the wrestling T-shirts. You need to start putting away the Twisted merch. We need to head down to Kmart, buy one of those, 12 T-shirts for $11 kind of button
Yes.
gimmicks, and
They have those.
tie it to 11, and just be a bit more mature, perhaps, because we forget that Jay is, he's a man of the people. He's a working man, and
That's right.
While myself and you, we go back, as you know, I play a fair bit of video games and things like that. Jay thinks that we need to settle down.
Yeah, you got to throw that video game console away there, Nim. Like, Jay does not
I was
approve
gonna say,
of
I'm not
that.
throwing my PS4
you just
away
have
for
to-
anybody.
Well, maybe you should grow up, Jay. I don't play
what
video
I'm
games.
trying to get at is some things that.
You little stop wasting time playing your Xbox and get out there and smell the roses, idiot.
No, well,
Coming from a man who doesn't even cut his front lawn, that's a whole other story,
I
isn't
don't
it,
even
Jay?
have a lawn at the minute, but that's another story for another time, especially when Nibs is kind of on the clock. What I'm saying is, sometimes I think you need to realise that some things you may find funny, somebody else may not. That's it.
is that somebody else?
Rant
You?
over.
The way
That could be anybody. You got to start, using the old
way
coconut
that,
a bit.
the way that Herbs is carrying on right now, anyone thinks that me, Nettie, and Fitz just run around putting whoopee cushions on. And some Jack's going, sit on it, Jay, sit on it.
That's a great idea, man. Next week I'm bringing the whoopee cushion for big old Jay. He probably won't even notice. Oh, I farted in the studio again. Didn't even feel that one.
Now, Herbs, I'm a bit concerned. So would you suggest that the three of us need to maybe, I don't know, well, first off, we'll go by your punishments and we'll write, we will be much, much more mature 100 times on the blackboard. But what do you suggest that we need to do then, Jay, to fit within your parameters of being more grown up, so to speak?
Just use a little bit of common sense.
Oh, is that all?
That's it.
Okay, see, this is why we're so wrong, guys. I mean, here we are tagging friends in memes about, Laurel and Yanni or dresses and shoes and things like that. Well, what we really should be doing is, as we mentioned last week, going on to morning shows and sharing our opinions on facts like, do you think, I don't know, just rando stuff like that. So we need to stop wasting our time, guys. That's what we need to do, correct?
It's time to grow up, man. Our lives are over. We may as well be 50
I feel like every time I go onto social media, you two are policing everything that I post, so I might as well just shut my accounts down for a start.
Well, no,
Oh, there he goes.
There you go. Whoa.
Why do you think I'm always so quiet on Twitter and just retweet the underground?
Well, it's good that you do that, Jay.
Do you have anyone else that follows you on Twitter?
And
He's got a good following.
Yeah, okay.
It's not like we go out to have a look at stuff and see. It's just sometimes we just sort of jump online, and as you know, this might be a Twitter question, this might be a something that we should be asking Mark Zuckerberg, but we jump on board and all of a sudden we'll see a comment from JLH on, say, like the Sunrise page will have a story on, say, My Kitchen Rules, and all of a sudden we'll see your smiling little face in that circle pop up going, who cares?
I'm allowed to have an opinion.
He loves to put his opinion out there. So basically, do as Jay says, not as he does.
No,
Exactly,
definitely not
Nettie.
that.
I look forward to you and I jumping on board, and Fitz as well. I look forward to the three of us all of a sudden taking more interest in the big topics of morning shows, like, could this be the end of Kmart houseware? And
This podcast has just gone downhill.
So, with that in mind, Herbs, would you prefer for us to talk about more grown-up topics, like buying stocks and shares?
well,
and,
I don't know any of that stuff.
Well, that's grown up.
That Fitzy's onto something here, Nibs, because remember the other week we did find out with the toilet roll issue that Herbs is a big bargain hunter.
Yeah.
he's very economical here, and in this day and age, like, we didn't realise that he's the king of finance as well as the king of metal.
So maybe next week, Jay, we can premiere a new segment, Jay's financial...
You've got the barefoot investor, now we've got the stinkfoot investor.
Moving on.
To save money, don't shower.
He's the
No,
thriftiest guy
I strongly
know.
recommend showering.
And hang on, and let's just go back to what you said before. You don't have a front lawn at the moment. Did you poison your lawns? You don't have to
No, it just
mow
hasn't been raining. Nothing's
Saving
been
money
growing.
on lawnmower running costs?
Exactly. No, what he's saying there, he didn't poison it. He just hasn't watered it. Hell no, I ain't doing that. Poison would cost money.
And so would
I ain't
water.
showering. I ain't vacuuming the floor. That costs electricity. Like, I love it, Jay. This is
Anyone would
brilliant.
think I'm some sort of hermit that lives off the grid, doesn't have any water or power.
We've gone full circle and worked out it's actually Herb saving money.
That's what it is.
It's basically Koshi.
You're not a dirty, stinky droogie at all. You're just a very high...
You're a
You're a
thrifty
millionaire,
man.
damn it.
Oh yeah, I'm doing the Scrooge McDuck and diving into my money bin on a daily basis.
It saves money because you've already got it.
Oh, jeez.
Oh god.
Got to absolutely love it. Boys, I got to cut this short because I got to run. It is a race day here in Australia, and by the time this drops, we'll probably find out who is leading in the Supercars Championship. Hopefully it is Scotty McLaughlin, but you never know. Shane Van Gisbergen could also climb up after a couple of good points at Winton. And if anyone just understood what I just said, I'd like a show of hands.
We're just looking at each other.
Yeah, like what?
All right. Thank you, Nemi. Appreciate it, man. We
Thanks,
will
man.
talk to you soon.
All right, boys. Talk soon.
So yeah, there you have it. Nim's out for another time, but Herbs, we've got.
I think we're onto something.
we've got
I
you
really
figured
do.
out, man.
All right, so next week, Herbs, we're going to start talking more mature topics, and your household money saving tips will be first cab off the rank.
Well, that's exactly right. So you could live just like Herbs.
Yeah, live like Herbs.
Maybe that could be the name of
There
a new
you go.
podcast. Live like Herbs.
No, just no.
It could be a go, but anyway, let's switch things up. We do have some great things happening at the moment in the underground world. Turncoat Dirty, a.k.a. Boondocks the Scarecrow. Your buddy, John. You hung out
My
and
best
watched
buddy.
cricket with him.
I know, he's my favourite guy in the world, actually. He's definitely top 3. Me and Dirty, we go way back.
Yeah, Dirty's a good dude. Johnny was trying to teach him how to play cricket.
Yeah.
I actually remember who was playing in that time. It was now the disgraced David Warner, and we were there saying, yeah, Warner's kind of like
He's the man.
Yeah, he's the man here. Now he's like shunned upon sort of deal. But yeah, Dirty, he's got a new album out now. It's called Dirty Days of Night. We caught up with him last week, which you can check out. But pick up that album. It is going to be at the M&A shop, and you can pick it up at Twisted Shop as well. Magic Ninja Entertainment doing a very big things. Cool. Jay looking very confused. What's on in the world of metal at the moment, Herbs?
Oh, a lot of big things actually happening in the world of metal. Slipknot is starting to get organised to record their follow-up to Point 5, the Grey Chapter, so that should be dropping maybe mid to late next year, so definitely looking forward to that one.
So with Corey Taylor, he sort of breaks, doesn't he? He goes Stone Sour, Slipknot.
Yeah.
He describes...
He just keeps going and writes books and acts in between. Like, the guy doesn't stop.
The guy is a beast, actually,
That's cool.
Johnny. Like, when he's doing Stone Sour, he describes it as a party, and then he describes Slipknot
as the hangover.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that's a true story. So I'm looking forward to that new Slipknot album. So you're saying next year? Is
it's sort of mid to late next year. That's probably one of the main big ones. Hopefully, be maybe having Metallica tour sometime next year.
Is that a guess?
Yes, that's a complete guess.
So I'm just going to say,
Why do you think
hopefully Twisted...
Why do you think I threw in Why do you think I threw in maybe?
So to save money at home, he's cut his internet as well.
Yeah.
So he's got no connection with the outside world.
He makes his own internet. I think Metallica may be touring next year. I mean, I may be leaving the house next year also. You just don't know.
I'm going to that show for sure.
Check that out on herbook.com.
Herbook.com. But someone that is touring is Ritz. Strange Music.
Yeah.
You love him, John. I'm a
massive.
massive Ritz fan as well. Stevie Stone from Strange Music as well. Those boys are heading out our way next month. In June, it is going to be massive. All of the details are online at theundergroundaustralia.com.au. Be sure to get out there and support it, playing in Sydney and Melbourne, and for those in New Zealand, in Auckland as well. It is going to be ginormous, Jay.
Oh, sounds like an absolutely ripping tour. Make sure you get your tickets, theundergroundaustralia.com.au. Get them now. They will go fast.
Yes, very nice sell there, Jay. But that is about all we have time for this week. We are catching up with Housey of Coffin Carousel, Australian metal punk horror sort of dude. Think Wednesday 13. And looking forward to that one. It's heading your way next.
Cool. Can't wait for this one. Stay tuned. Coming up next.
This is Ritz, White Jesus, and you're now listening to The Underground.
Catching up with Howard Von Noyes of Coffin Carousel on the Underground Amped. Howard, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, my man. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Now, first up, an Australian on the show, which is good to see. Tell us about your band, Coffin Carousel.
Okay, so I guess I started the band back in 2012, and it was basically going to be a side project for me. I was in a few other bands at the time, so yeah, the nature of life and the course of the way things go, it actually became a full-time band, and I've been driving it pretty much full-time ever since 2015. I put out the band's first EP, so...
That's really cool there, man. I was going to say, what sort of best describes the sound to you guys? You've sort of got that whole horror, punk, metal sort of vibe happening, yeah?
Yeah, I've always loved dark, heavy bands. I never wanted to come out and claim the horror punk title. I just always wanted to have that flavour sitting in amongst, everything else that was happening. Obviously, I love dark music, so I wanted the imagery to be dark and sort of have a presence there. But at the same time, not be too common. It's more sort of horror driven in the fun elements, where it's more campy horror. It's not about bloodshed and, how much blood you can pour over yourself in a photo shoot. I love other things in cinema, like Sin City and Robert Rodriguez movies. I love rockabilly, psychobilly, gothabilly stuff. So it's just basically throwing everything in the soup can that I've really enjoyed over the years and trying to make one new sort of flavour out of it.
Yeah, nice, man. I like that a lot. And you're saying you got together around 2012. And so sort of what's your back catalogue? An EP and the full length, is that it?
No. We're talking about Coffin Carousel. I put out a single at the end of 2014, which was Sinister.
Yep.
I recorded a single, I did a B-side, which was an acoustic version, and we shot a music video. So with this band, it was my first time I'd stepped behind the microphone. I've always been the guitarist in the band, so that was more of a okay, I'm going to put a single out and see how it goes. But it was received well, and people that knew me obviously thought it was a good thing, and I sort of stepped away from my metal roots and got a bit more into the rock, hardcore punk sort of side of things with Coffin Carousel. From there, 4 or 5 months later, we actually put out the first EP, Fiend, which is a 6-track EP had a remix on the CDs. And that's when we started playing live shows, because obviously we had a set worth of material with an EP going out. From there, I got a little bit more excited and went and recorded 2 cover songs later in 2015. We put out a single called Doom. It was called the Doom Pop single.
Yeah.
So it was a Misfits cover and a Ramones cover. That year we actually supported the Misfits in Melbourne. We opened for them at Max Watt in Melbourne. And then I got a little bit more excited and was like, sure, let's do another EP. Started 2016, I put out another 4-track EP, which was called Predators. And by then, I'd had an album's worth of material. So spent most of 2016 working on this album. We'll get to in a sec. But I got a little bit more excited again, 6 months down the track, and so I'll pop out 2 songs and start putting the new sound out there, which was the Batshit Crazy Toxic Candy double A-side single. And then put out another song called The Strange on Halloween. That was the single again. And then over the course of 2016, we had recorded and filmed a live show at the Bendigo Hotel. So my mate had finished that off for me start of 2017, so I put that out as a Live Insane City release, and then was basically headed into the waters of the Between Death and Dead album that came out October 13th, 2017.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that one. You've somehow, in the middle of there, it sounds like you've had a bunch of great things on the go, and I think it's really cool that you open up for the Misfits and have that sort of influence. But how did you grab the attention of Eclipse Records? When did you get signed with them?
Okay, the history there goes back to my previous band, Hatchet Dawn. So I started talking and conversing with Eclipse probably in 2010. And the Hatchet Dawn at the time had done an album that was received really well, and the band had grown a great profile on the Australian music scene. And I guess that caught the attention of Eclipse. I'm pretty sure they contacted me and just dropped a quick email and said, hey, they'd seen the band's music video on YouTube and were interested in the album, and we want to talk shop with them. And at the time of that, I guess the progression of Hatchet Dawn, it was sort of going through a weird phase where the band didn't look like it had much of a future left. So Hatchet Dawn sort of wound down, finished up its sort of album cycle, and the band sort of dissipated. But I'd kept in contact with Chris at Eclipse Records throughout the years. So when it came to having this full-length album of Coffin Carousel songs, I did speak to a couple other labels, and being a band that sort of was still growing a profile and still had like an entry-level sort of status, Eclipse were the only label that were interested in helping develop things on the album from that level. So I got back in touch with Chris. I had spoken to Chris through the years, just dropped emails and kept in touch. But yeah, the union with Eclipse Records and Coffin Carousel came together over time. And I guess just through myself staying in touch with the label and saying, hey guys, I got this album and I'm pretty proud of it and I want to give it a good shot and it's time to do this.
Yeah, and that, of course, Between Death and Dead, and you said that came out October last year. How's the reaction been to it so far?
Well, internationally, it's been great, and that's where Eclipse have really helped, because that was my main focus. I wanted to get over the Australian shores into other territories and just get the band's awareness growing. So it's been great. I've had a lot of emails and communication over Facebook from people around the world, and they really enjoyed it. I've sent a lot of CDs. People have purchased to the website overseas, to Europe and North America, which has been great. Locally, it's been the same old battle. It's like, you're fighting to get into that local scene. And yeah, it's just obviously everything comes with a bit of a challenge. And the biggest challenge locally, I find, is Australia has a very strong death metal scene.
Yeah. And
if you're not brutal or you're not completely indie, that in the middle realm of just being a hard rock band is a nightmare. But you've got to be vigilant, you've got to be diligent and keep pushing your dream and to keep talking to promoters and organising shows and just keep working it.
Yeah, keep pushing on sort of thing. But you guys really do. You've got the full look happening there, Housey, and I like all the merchandise, and like you definitely fit the bar for the Wednesday 13 and Davey Suicide tour that was here last month. How was that one for you?
It was an actual surprise. I put out the Coffin music video, which was the acoustic song from the Between Death and Dead album. And I actually said to the guys, look, I want to take a few months off and I want to have a break and just do me for a bit and recharge. And I think within 2 or 3 weeks of having that discussion with the guys, got this email saying, did you want to open for Wednesday 13? And I was like, oh, here we go. Obviously, it was a no-brainer. So I called up the guys and they were up for it. And we said yes. And in a sense where I thought I needed to take a break, it was more of a fire lit under my ass to get get everything together and get, like, don't relax, man, keep this thing driving. So I took that as a bit of a message from the universe to basically, it's not time to take a break yet, buddy.
Yeah, you got to keep on moving because the stars are aligning sort of deal. I hear what you're saying.
The horror business needs you, so keep being horrific. Yeah. And actually a little cool thing, after the show, I was talking to some of the management promoters from that tour, and I actually asked them, like, what was the criteria? I never knew how the bands got selected. I said yes to this email and got the band ready and got my team together and crew and stuff for the show, but I actually said Wednesday 13 handpicked all the bands himself.
Oh, that is awesome right there. So you guys would be right up there, Ali, no doubt.
Oh, look, man, the grin that came on my face would have spread from Perth to Sydney. So I was just like, man, that's really cool. And it actually made me feel really good that there's artists out there still that care enough to know who's going to be on their tours. Like, it's not just about, okay, we're going to book a tour and let the local promoters find bands and we'll just turn up and be a rock star and do our thing and go. It was like, he actually cared who was there, which was, to me, felt, as a fan, I was just like, man, that's really cool. Right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. It's like the tour all round was great. Like the support acts sort of suited it. Same deal with Davey Suicide. It was like just the ultimate night out there. I think that's great.
It's been so long since there's been something like that, especially in Melbourne anyway. Like the whole, I don't like using the word goth, but the whole goth scene's kind of like gone and hid in the cave somewhere. You know, and like anyone into anything dark or sort of alternative is like, it's like, where have you guys gone? But it was good. It sort of brought that whole scene back together for a night, and I think it made a lot of people realise that this music is still alive and there's people that still care.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And bring on the next one. And I guess on the topic of that sort of thing, what is up next for Coffin Carousel? What do you guys have in the works at the moment?
I'm glad we did this interview this week because last week I wouldn't have been able to answer you that question. So December last year I was over in LA. I was with a buddy and we worked on some songs. Mitch Marlowe, he's produced In This Moment, New Year's Day, Stitched Up Heart, a lot of the Century Media label bands. I'm good friends with him and I hung out with him for a week and wrote 3 songs with him.
Nice.
I've got some remixes done and we're turning that into an EP which will probably go out August this year. And we're going to launch it on the Psycho Circus tour that Dark Cell are running, which is a 3-day festival across Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne. So the Melbourne show, we're going to be launching an EP. And in the meantime, I've just booked myself a run of solo acoustic shows. Through June, July, August, I'll be doing a show, a set of acoustic, I guess, renditions of Coffin Carousel songs and some cover songs. I've got some great friends performing with me on the night. I run an event called the Anarchist Ballroom, so it books bands that are horror influenced and also artists and burlesque artists and sideshow performers. So I've called all my homies, all my crew. I said, I'm going to do these 3 shows. I want them to be super rad. So I've booked up a bunch of nights and I'm going to be having some fun with that. Just sort of showing another side as myself and just songwriting. And I love Michael Graves from the Misfits. So he does these tours in America where he plays all the Misfits shows along with his own material. You know, he sort of strips them back and makes them all haunting. And like you're sitting in a graveyard at night playing your acoustic. So I'm going to be doing those for the next 3 months and then getting back on stage with the guys in August to launch this EP.
Oh, that's really awesome to hear, man. It sounds like there's no signs of slowing down at all there, Housey.
Nah, I was going to plan a trip to Hawaii this year and take a break and just, do this whole relax and find myself kind of thing. And I think this sort of stuff, that the universe has come in with a big fist and rounded up my ass and said, nah, keep going, bro. The horror business needs you, so let's keep going.
I love that. With a big stick up the ass, so funny. So you can grab all the details of these things online at coffincarousel.com. Yeah, your upcoming shows with Dark Cell, as you mentioned.
Yep. I'm in the process of getting websites built for the Anarchist Ballroom and I'm revamping my own personal website. But at the meantime, check out the Coffin Carousel Facebook pages, Anarchist Ballroom, and my Facebook and Instagram. It's just with Howard Von Noise and you'll find all those details.
Howard Von Noise, there you go. We'll whack it all up, all those details with this interview as well. Coffincarousel.com is the website and there's links to the Twitters, the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all that, as well as a bunch of great merch. I love you guys' merchandise there, man. You mentioned the Misfits. It's got a very Misfits sort of feel to it.
Yeah, they are hands down my favourite band of all time. And obviously they've had a tumultuous history of going full steam and putting on the brakes and line-up changes and that. But I was like, man, I know there's a lot of horror punk influenced bands out there, but I was like, I want to add my flavour to this, because I used to sit in my bedroom singing the top of my lungs the Misfits tunes, and then when I learned guitar, I was learning the Misfits songs, and, you know, apart from Slayer and like Sepultura and all those other bands that you get into as a music fan, heavy music fan, the more bands that are out there doing it, the more awareness is growing, and the more fans that can find bands that they enjoy. It just sort of helps that whole scene grow.
Oh, most definitely, man. And yeah, definitely keep doing your thing. Howard Von Noise, thank you so much for joining us on The Underground. The brand new album, well, it's not too brand new now, but the album is Between Death and Dead. It is out now. Pick it up at coffincarousel.com. Thanks heaps for joining us, man.
No worries, anytime. And I hope you're enjoying the album. I spent 5 years making that thing, so it's a killer. It's just ripping songs and being mixed to play loud, so crank it.
Oh, definitely. 5 years in the making. Pick that up.
And I'm still alive. Between death and dead, what comes next is you're alive, so breathe.